What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today was a really good day. We had some good price action, and we were able to catch a solid move on SPY. So this is what we ended up looking like off open. So obviously today, on the call side, these calls are absolutely destroyed. Nothing to go off of there. On the put side, on the other hand, you can see we obviously had a bearish trend yesterday going into CPI, and I told you guys would not surprise me at all if we did get a pullback, because this chart was super extended up in here from the SMAs to the 50, and then if we look on the higher time frames, we were right at that 4-hour 50, and then we are closing in on the daily 50 up in here. So told you guys if we end up opening red, we're probably gonna get a bounce, but obviously CPI ended up pumping us, so we saw a move higher today. And yeah, I'm still favoring the downside a little bit. The close we had, obviously this chart ended up crossing negative here on the 30-minute, but I do think that we're gonna get the bears. You know, they're gonna take the trend back tomorrow. Maybe we'll have to see how we open, but I don't know. I just have this slight bearish bias going into tomorrow. Again, it's kind of just a guess on what's gonna happen, but with how the chart's shaping up, I feel like if we gap down tomorrow, good chance bears are gonna take this back, and we may see a move lower going into next week. So given where we opened today, we opened right here at the 50 SMA. I was still bearish, going into the day. There really wasn't much for me to be bullish about yet, because we were still sitting at, if we look on the 1 hour, still sitting at that 1 hour 50 and also at the 2 hour 50. So kind of with that in mind, I wasn't too bullish going into today. And once we start to, get multiple closes below the 50, that I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see a little bit of an upside move. But this is what we ended up playing today. So we use the 30-minute chart to give us our bias and where we think we're going to go and the trend in the market. So when we're crossed on the 30-minute, you want to be focusing on the side that's crossed. So initially today, I was only focused on the downside, and then once this chart ended up coming up in here on the call side, if we got a cross, I probably would have taken it, because all the major supports were getting broken below, and we never got the cross on the call side. So there's no trade for me to take on the calls, because we never got a call cross. And obviously this is where we ended up opening. Right off of open, you can see this little cross ended up happening, but I was staying away from this. I just didn't like where we were at on the higher time frames on the put side. So this was nothing I was taking, this little cross, funky cross. It gave a move, but this is not a trade you want to be taking with how we were off the open. I mean, we're sitting at key support. It's not a trade that I like. And obviously this 50 dip down here, you're not buying, because the puts were kind of still favored a little bit given how the higher time frames looked. So I was not really interested in grabbing longs today. Maybe if we bounce off this 50, close with a 10 SMA, maybe I'd be open. I forget what the puts were looking like at this time, but yeah, this chart went negative. Again, this negative cross isn't a trade you want to take, because at the time when we actually went negative here, right at like 12.10, if we flip to the other side of the premium, you can see where we're at already. We're already at this 50 SMA on the opposite side of the premium. So that's not a trade you want to take if we're already at the resistance on the put side. So what I wanted to see was a cross on the puts, and we finally got it here into the end of the day, and we actually caught a really big move on this. I ended up taking SPY 0DTs, the 675s. They went 125%. Call this out in the Discord. Got in these at like 0.34. They ran to like 0.79. I actually have the screenshot from the P&L percentage that I had going, but yeah, it was a simple cross. That's all I was playing, and I'll show you guys the entry that I got. It's 125% that we caught today inside the Discord. I ended up chopping around a little bit, had some drawdown on this. I was probably down like 40%, 50% at one point on this pullback to the 50. And yeah, it might seem like a lot, but I was positioned for that. I told Discord that if this trade does not work out, it'll be a decently sized, like percentage-wise, in drawdown, because it's nearing the end of the day and we have 0DTs. It's a higher risk trade, so I was looking for more percentage-wise to make up for that risk. So I was looking for like over 100% for me to take trims, and that's exactly what we got. I trimmed a little bit. I trimmed half at like over 100%, and then once it started to pull back a little bit from my entry, not from my entry, from like this top up in here, I just got out the rest of it. That's what we caught there, and I'll show you guys what we actually ended up looking like when I took the entry. So this is what we looked like right here. You can see 10 SMA crossing above the 50, 50 starting to level out. We started to see a move lower, and this 50 on the next candle open actually curled up nicely. And yeah, this is where I took my initial entry, because that 50 was starting to level out. I wanted to give it a go, and I still had slight bearish bias, so I wanted to see, I just like this move. I wanted to see us go lower, and we did. I wish we got just a little bit, more of a move. I know 125%, that's a good move, but they were like contracts towards end of the day. I mean, I was in this at what time were we in this at? So I ended up taking this. I trimmed at pretty much like 257, over 100%. So we still had, an hour left in the market. It's pretty late in the day for me to be in a trade. Given the 0DT chart, if we got a little bit, one more candle lower, this would have been well over a 200% trade. And yeah, I was wishing we were just going to get a nice flush in a close from where I entered at. Didn't end up happening, but it was still a good trade that ended up playing out. So yeah, that's what we did today. Very simple 10 estimate crossing with the 50 on the 0DT puts, and we got a nice move out of it. We were sitting at this 30-minute 50. If you guys were wondering why I ended up taking this, if you looked on the 30-minute here, we were at this 50 right up in here, this 50 SMA, but the 50 was still sloped up a little bit, and it was flat. So when it's usually flat, sloped up a little bit, I don't really consider it much of a resistance point. I always go over this, but the flatter the 50, the less resistance it will be. The more sloped down it is, the stronger it will be. So given it was sloped up like right in this area, back in here, I'm like, okay, I don't really, this isn't gonna stop me from taking a 0DT cross, because there's a good chance that this is more likely to break. And it didn't end up happening, but we still got a solid move out of the trade. And yeah, maybe it'll break tomorrow. I'd love to see bears recapture this trend and send us lower in next week, but right now, going into tomorrow, technically, market is neutral because the 10 SMA is below the 50. 10 is the green, 50 is the blue. So you're just going to want to look for a 0DT cross either side tomorrow. So if we open up, 30-minute chart crosses on the put side and we're bearish, just look for a put cross. And if we open green or flat and we see a move higher, just look for the call cross. It's a very simple plan going into tomorrow. That's all you got to look for. You just got to be patient, wait for the setup. You got to wait for that 10 estimated cross above the 50, with the 50 being flat or curling up. I would not, do not take trades. Do not take the crosses that 50 SMA is still sloped down. Those are the trades you do not want to take. You're going to get screwed taking those. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did today. That's the game plan for tomorrow. We did take a loss on Google here, so I really like Google. I mean, this was a really good setup. Just didn't end up playing out here. If we pull up Google, it was just a simple 50 SMA dip on the 30-minute chart, and I forget what contracts we had, to be honest. I think it was the 305s. Yeah, it was these ones. So right off open, I saw we hit the 50. I bought some short, and I ended up stopping out for like 35, 36%, and I did buy a little bit more at the 50 to bring down my average. So yeah, it just ended up playing out. We ended up getting a little wick off of it, and then it just ultimately ended up giving out. Same thing with SPY. SPY lost the 50, so it kind of ramped the rest of the market. I still think Google's gonna see a move lower. These higher time frames are still holding the 50, so I'm actually in a swing on Google further out, like a month and a couple days. So I still think it's going to recapture the trend on the 30-minute, and we'll have to see the higher time frames hold, but I am in a swing for Google. And yeah, I think that's the only thing we took today for the system on the regular chart. I'm trying to find, I wonder what Apple looks like. I was eyeing Apple. Apple gave a nice move into today, but it was risky because of what's it called? We had a CPI, so that wasn't really something you wanted to take. But if we look here, the 275s, I mean, look at these. Look at this move off open. I don't know what caused Apple to nuke off open, but right off open, these contracts nuked. I mean, these contracts were at like $3.19 all the way up to $8. I mean, geez, that was a fat move off of this little cross right here. It did close below the 50 slightly, but that really wouldn't be something I'd stop out of just yet. 50 still sloped up, not much of a close below. That's a trade where I'd still be in that, but with CPI, not a trade I would have wanted to hold overnight. So yeah, Apple did net a solid move there. It actually netted a really fat move on the 50 dip as well. We pulled back to the 50 here at 287, went all the way up to 517. That's probably almost 100% on the premium. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities on other names out there. You just got to look for the setups. And yeah, what's Tesla looking like? Yeah, Tesla doesn't look too great. When the 50 looks like this, when it's sloped up so much like this, these are the trades that I don't take. Like, I don't like how Tesla looked right here. This 50 is sloped up so aggressively that it just looks funky. Those are the trades I stay away from. Those are the crosses I don't like to take. Same thing with the 0DT chart. If the 50 SMA is like vertical when we're crossing, that's a sign to just stay away. It's just not going to be a clean cross, and who knows, it may move, but at the end of the day, those are just not trades you want to be taking. And yeah, that's what Tesla looks like. I mean, we did get a cross. Am I that bullish on Tesla? I mean, the higher time frames are definitely looking nice. I just don't like how that 50 looked. Maybe if we get like a reclaim of the 10 tomorrow, that'd be a good setup. I mean, 4-hour chart just crossing. It does look good for higher. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'm not sure what other names there were that I was watching that gave some moves. But yeah, that's what we did today. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. That's where I'm at all day, every day, and that's where I share the trades that I'm taking. So that's a place if you want to learn. That's all I got. I'm out. Peace.